This is the Sport Fishing Championship.
And it's time to cap off our day at the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic from Biloxi, Mississippi, as the boats headed out yesterday morning. They'll fish all day yesterday, all day today, and they'll come in tomorrow evening. This is the 5th stop of 11 on the Sport Fishing Championship. I'm Robbie Floyd with multi-time champion Peter Miller. And 11 events, Peter, 2 different divisions. We're talking about the Gulf here, but you got to fish at least 3 events to be qualified as an SFC team.
That's right. There's 20 teams in each event. You got to score those points, and we have the Atlantic Division and the Gulf Division. Then we're going to go to Puerto Rico to crown the winner of it all for $1 million.
You got to put some flavor on it. You got to go Puerto Rico, but we're not in Puerto Rico. We're in Biloxi, Mississippi. It's the 5th stop. We've already been to the Gulf before. Of course, we started off our season in Venice and Grand Isle. We've also been to a couple of other cities, but Orange Beach, Alabama was our 2nd stop. Now our 3rd stop of the standalone Gulf Division events. Again, the mighty Gulf of Mexico. I don't know if many people say mighty, but it is mighty vast and a great opportunity for these anglers to head out wherever they want to. And you see this playing field we're dealing with, Peter Miller. They've got a lot of options, and with that, they have a lot of fuel on board when they took off yesterday, and we're hearing not 1, not 200, but even more than 200 miles out.
And they have to be able to carry 1,500 to 2,000 in their fuel tanks. And they have bladders with 250 gallons in each bladder. So they'll have one in the bow, one in the stern, possibly 2 in the stern. And when you have that much fuel on the boat, you have to be careful the way you're running the boat. So it's kind of like a give and take. Once again, a ballet, if you will. Yeah, and not only with the weight of that fuel, also the cost of that fuel, probably not cheap. It's not the $6 a gallon you might be getting at the local store. Think of all the marina prices, everything else. But again, a lot of money is on the line, and we'll be talking about that as well here at the Sport Fishing Championship. Look at that weed line there. That is a beauty. That's where the current edge. Oh, we've got a catch alert, Robbie.
Yes, and this kind of updates throughout the show, and you'll see this on CBS Sports in the morning as well. Whenever we get an update as it happens on the water, we let you know what fish is caught and released. And again, this morning at 7:43, the Pearl caught a blue marlin. There's been several blue marlin caught. There's been white marlin caught. There's been sailfish caught.
Everything has been caught. They're searching for the big fish, the big point winner. That is the 350-point blue marlin, and there are a bunch. This morning when we were talking about 18 fish. Now we're up to 35 billfish. That's what I'm seeing thus far.
Absolutely, and you work your way up through the day. You see some names in there like Pearl. It just takes time. These are going to be front runners, as well as Salt Shaker as of late. Quantified, we've heard that before. Look at that. They've caught a different species, a white marlin. It was Quantified who caught all the sails at our last stop. Now they're catching white marlin. They do things different.
They've got 3 white marlin today and a sail from the other day, so they're really spreading it out. They need a blue now.
All the way up till now, Patron, Necessity, and It Just Takes Time. The reason I mention It Just Takes Time, I believe, if you could call it a defending champ, they caught the biggest blue marlin last year that they brought in, I believe, over 790 pounds. They won a lot of money. If they keep catching blue marlin this year, they could also be an SFC champion, take home the prize from the event, take home our prize, and put themselves in the running for that $1 million prize at the end of the season.
And also put some fuel back in their boat after that, because that's pretty much what they're going to be putting that money towards.
Absolutely. I think they won over $400,000 last year. As you look at the points right now as it stands, these are our standings, and you have a 3-way tie on top. Salt Shaker, Necessity, as well as It Just Takes Time, and you get that with 2 blue marlin and 1 white marlin.
And that's what you want. You want diversity when you're fishing out there, and that will let you go to the top, where you have Pearl at 700 with 2 blues, and Shockwave, Blueprint, and Just Looking all with 2 blues. But that 1 white for the top 3 boats has really thrust them to the top.
One thing we were missing there, Quantified with 3 whites. You have 1 sailfish. That's why they had that odd number. And another thing we were missing is the first blue marlin caught gets an extra 100 bonus points. We don't know who caught the first one. They're going to have to go back to the tape. It was just that close. Rising Suns, one of our top teams. They're looking to have a strong season here in the Gulf Division. We got to catch up with them earlier in this week, and as they head out on the 3rd stop of the Gulf, they're trying to catch the blues.
They are no stranger to blue marlin.
No, they are not. Again, Rising Suns started off the season at the first event, tied for 7th. That was at the Venice Grand Isle event. They backed it up at Orange Beach with a tied for 9. They need another top 5 to kind of give themselves a running as far as the event standings go, because every position in the top 20 gets a point value per their placing. Then you just keep adding those catches throughout the year. But here in the Gulf of Mexico, you see we've got some big rigs, some big lines, some big reels, and some big blues.
That was a jumbo blue you just saw jumping out there. I mean, when you can see the shoulders on a fish that far away from the boat, you know you got a lunker on, and this is no fish to sneeze at right here. That's a big, big fish. Well done.
And the beautiful thing with the Sport Fishing Championship, where our portion of these individual tournaments, as you look down into that crystal clear blue water, it is catch and release. We do not keep these fish for the SFC. As soon as that leader makes it to the rod tip or the mate grabs that leader, it is now an official catch.
That's right. They just want to get that leader. They want to get that leader back as much as they can, cut it close to the fish, or get that lure back as well. Rising
Suns with a blue marlin at the first stop. Then they went to Orange Beach. They tied for 9th there. They got another blue marlin there, so they're 2 for 2 stops. They need to get 2 here and really jump up in the standings.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely love what we do. We got a great team. We've been fishing together for, over 15 years, so we all have a good time when we go out there. It keeps, the pressure kind of down, We're going to probably go in the same area that we've been fishing in, try to stay away from boats, which is going to be hardly impossible, We're just going to get it in the area and work it and hopefully get lucky. If the fish is staying on top, you want to get over to them as quickly as possible before they go down, because we're not fishing in shallow water. It's deep out there, so kind of want to keep the fish as close to the boat as possible. I'm still after the first place blue marlin. That's one of my big goals to do here.
Big goal from everyone to catch that blue.
Yeah, and you see how he's talking about trying to close that gap really quickly, and the fish is on top, because they will sound down to the bottom. They will go straight down to the bottom. You're in 500, 800, 1,000 feet, they're going there.
Well, they're not on the bottom of the point standings. Rising Suns currently sit in 6th with 4,300 points, but Southern Charm, due to their consistency leading this Gulf Division, now you get $100,000 if you win the Gulf Division. If you win the Atlantic Division, you get a $100,000 check. And when we go to Puerto Rico, you're one of those 2 teams, you're the front runner. You're trying to win that $1 million overall prize.
That's right. Hopefully they're one of those guys that also caught the championship fish, which is the yellowfin tuna, the mahi-mahi, or the wahoo. And there's some nice ones caught in this tournament.
Absolutely. Another team that we're going to be talking about this week, hopefully, is Heavy Hitter. That 57-foot Viking trying to get it done in the Gulf.
Man, it's an unbelievable experience just to be able to go out hundreds of miles offshore, spend several days, and you're going after a number of fish, not just the swordfish, or the marlins. We're going after swordfish, mahi, wahoo, just a number of different challenges that you face out there. I think it's one of those things that it was a dream when we were, growing up, catching a bass to being able to catch the smallest to the biggest ocean fish was such a challenge. So being able to sit there and dream of it since you were a little kid, and then actually be able to do it, put a lot of hard work in to be able to do this, and for it to finally pay off is just an unbelievable experience. At the end of the day, go out and do it. If at all possible, budget it and make it work, because the thrill and the challenge is just unbelievable, and you'll just never have another rush like it if you're into fishing.
Got it. Whoa, look at this.
Whether you like to ride the wind, find your secret cove, or reel them in, plot your paradise with GPS Map Series from Garmin.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
Remember, everything begins in the morning. Every story told is a fisherman's tale. We build watches tough enough to be a part of that tale. The perfect balance of beauty and brawn. We are Seaholm. Watches that last a lifetime. Seaholm Automatic, the official timepiece of the Sport Fishing Championship.
See it, live it, love it. The largest in-water boat show in the world, the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. More than 3 million square feet, fishing boats to super yachts, engines, accessories, learning experiences, and culinary delights. Save the dates, October 26th through 30th. Details at flibs.com.
It all comes back to the water. This binding agent. This fluid history of connection. Past, present, and future, all tied together through this never-ending, unwavering force. We belong to a community of seekers, anglers, and everyone in between. For us, it's more than fishing, much more. It's who we are, who we were, and who we aspire to be. We are Smith.
SFC coverage of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is sponsored by Seaholm Watches, by Smith Optics, and by Fish Razor Tournament Grade Tackle.
Guys, we're down here at the dock in the marina with Coastal Mississippi's Rusty David. You guys obviously are the host of this event. 26 years for the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. What does it mean to the community of Biloxi, especially the fishing community?
Well, it means a whole lot. It brings a lot of people here over the years. It brings tourism here and it excites people about it. Our little show we do here at the marina with the weigh-in, we'll have 1,000 people in this parking lot here this afternoon, another 1,000 tomorrow afternoon. The economic impact, we're doing a study now. We'll see what that is and have that for you a little later. But we are the largest bill fishing tournament in the Gulf of Mexico. And we continue to grow, make it grow and do good. We're doing some video stuff this year that we haven't done before to bring the crowd and social media and live streaming to really build this thing and come.
Well, you obviously have been here for a long time. You said you started 26 years ago. That was the first ever Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. So you've seen it grow from small to the biggest in the Gulf, like you said. Give me some perspective of what's changed, at least around the general vicinity.
What's changed is the tremendous size of the boats. When we first did this, a 42-foot boat was humongous. And a 54 Bertram coming in, it was a battle wagon. Now we got 92, 95-foot boats, and nobody even looks at a 54-foot boat. Our average boats right now are 67 feet long. It's outstanding.
So people who are maybe not bill fishermen yet, because if you get around this, you'll want to be one, you'll want to catch some. But when you come to Biloxi, there's a lot of other things you can do to not only support the town, but the community in general and spend money here. What is other options other than fishing?
Well, basically, we got a 26-mile beach, sand beach, with no condos between the beach and the highway. Our tourism thing is great. Casinos are wonderful. We've got 4 or 5 outstanding museums: a Maritime Seafood Industry Museum, George Orr, a world-famous potter, Lynn Meadows, and it just goes on. We've got 300 years of history that we can show people, and we're excited to do it.
That's fantastic. A true success story from small up to the biggest tournament in the Gulf for the Coastal Mississippi Tourism. Rusty, I appreciate your time. What a great host this week for the biggest event in the Gulf so far this season.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie. Again, this is the premier destination for bill fishing, the Gulf Coast Billfish Classic, and where it took off from Point Cadet Marina yesterday on the first day of 3 days of competition. And Peter Miller, once they left the dock, most of them, or the guys going for the long billfish runs, they do not come back to shore until tomorrow at 6 p.m. is when they have to check in. So there are people coming in and out. Those are the guys that are maybe weighing in the wahoo or the invisible boats, yellowfin tuna. But for the most part, if I'm catching those billfish out there at distance on site with Site 1, Ronnie, I'm not coming back. I'm staying out there. I'm trying to catch as many billfish as I can.
Yeah, a lot of the teams, we were wondering if they would maybe come back this evening. Obviously, the scales will close at 8 o'clock tonight. They have to be at a certain spot to be able to weigh any fish today. But there is a big storm that's going to hit tonight. Those teams are toughing it out. I mean, it is a whole nother task, not only to go and do this 3-day event, but to stay out there for 3 days, the preparation that they have, and what they have to endure just to be able to compete in this event. It's major for these teams.
Hey, Ronnie, it looks like they may have caught some nice tuna and some nice wahoo. You think the other ones are going to get bumped out of position? What are we talking about here?
The buzz around Point Cadet Marina right now, I mean, midday when some of these deals are popping on our leaderboard and the reports are coming in, I mean, the town and the community already know, hey, there's a big yellowfin tuna, hey, there's a big wahoo, and they could break the bar that's been set already this year. But I'm not really surprised at all. Being at the captain's meeting, being around the teams the day before the tournament, and even at takeoff before they left the dock, everyone said big blue marlin, a lot more blue marlin than some of the tournaments, and we should see those championship division fish. A shot at breaking one of those is going to be a guarantee. So it's cool to see teams already catching those, but we're still going to see fireworks tomorrow morning, Saturday, the final day morning as well, before they make it back.
And Ronnie, other than our championship division fish, we have the blue marlin, the white marlin, the sailfish we're talking about. For the SFC, those are all catch and release, but the individual events themselves, they have their own rules, and that's why they're bringing them in on the other days in the afternoon, because if I've got a big blue marlin that weighs 1,000 pounds, that could literally be a $100,000 single fish. You don't want to stay out there an extra day and have a chance of anything going wrong.
Yeah, we mentioned it with some of our other past SFC events. Teams that have had registered catches on our live leaderboard did not make it back because of mechanical or because of timing issues. So you don't want to push it to the limit and not get back with a 1,000-pounder. We saw it 20 years ago in this event, a 1,054-pound blue marlin, the biggest in this event ever, happened, and that is a life-changing fish for a crew, and it's one that keeps you going for the rest of the season, and it's one that makes you wanting to come back to Biloxi every time. And talking to Rusty earlier, I got to watch you guys play that interview. Talking to Rusty earlier, I said, what is kind of the impact of things like Hurricane Katrina and some of the things that have affected these Gulf towns? And he said, yeah, other towns may have gotten hit hard and gotten the publicity or the exposure of what devastation they had. Look at the second level of this parking deck. We had 28 feet of water above this marina here. Everything was just leveled. But every year, these people build back. And to see everyone come out to a big billfish event like this, the biggest of the season, it's cool to see the support the community has. And one good thing is when they come into town, the billfish events, they don't take away from the restaurants. They don't take away from the casinos or the hotels. If anything, they add to it. They accentuate the town, and they bring a lot more people to this community.
Well, Ronnie, as we've always discussed, the Gulf Coast is very resilient. They always rebuild, they regroup, and they get back on track. And speaking of getting on track, it looks like the bite has turned on. Was this post-storm? I know there was a storm this morning, but it looks like they almost doubled the catch in 3-4 hours.
We're definitely seeing a bite window. Yesterday evening, we saw a bite window where they were going off. I mean, looking at those couple teams, Peter, that caught them right at the beginning of the tournament, the first fish. That's why we haven't awarded the 100 bonus points yet, because it was such a photo finish for the first catch of the event. We're still waiting to do that, and that's why looking at that leaderboard and seeing how many billfish are being caught, someone's going to catch one that's going to be a difference maker, but we're looking at also team necessity at the top. They're right now tied because they have, I believe, 1 white marlin and 2 blue marlin, and we're still waiting because they're one of those teams that could get that 100 bonus points added to their total. But I expect tomorrow there could be a team in 7th, 8th, maybe below 10th place position that can put a couple blue marlin in the boat or get the leader and obviously jump way up the leaderboard. We're going to see all kinds of, we know this, the team that catches the first blue marlin has not won any of our SFC events. All the drama has happened on the final day, and that's going to be no surprise if that happens this week as well.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie. On site with Site One, as always, doing a great job, and he's right. Things can happen in a hurry. Chris Hatcher, on Salt Shaker here just a couple hours ago, kind of jumped them up in a tie for the lead. But the championship divisions, we have 3 different fish that they do bring in on the SFC. The mahi-mahi, the yellowfin tuna by Invincible Boats, and the wahoo. We've already got the standard set for all 3 of those divisions. So far, we haven't heard anything here about the mahi-mahi, but the Invincible Boats, yellowfin tuna, this could be the front runner, Peter.
Robbie, that is a good one by Second Wind. That looks to me, if I'm a guessing man, a gambling man, we earned Biloxi, I'm thinking close to 200 pounds on that one.
Again, the leader for the Invincible Boats yellowfin tuna was Terry Meyer out of Orange Beach, Alabama, 152 pounds. He hoping that's 151. But the wahoo, we know that the wahoo Corrales Maricela Echeverria out of Punta Cana, 73.8 pounds. I do think Miss Mann might take that spot. Tate Yancey, I believe, has been catching all of their fish today, and that's a big one.
Those aren't gym muscles. Those are wahoo fishing muscles, and that's the kind of muscles you really want, guys. That's what you want to strive for.
I gotta say, Tate Yancey, he already caught a blue marlin today and catching a wahoo. Same areas that these fish would be in. I mean, are we closer to the shore? Are we farther to shore? Why are we seeing blues and the wahoos running together?
All these fish love that clean water. They love that bait, and they all want to hang out in the same area. And the wahoo love hanging with a marlin. You can catch them all together.
Again, tomorrow you can make sure and check us out very early in the morning. We'll be on at, 10 o'clock on CBS Sports Network and the hour before Eastern Time on the web.
The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation is honored to be the official charity of the Sports Fishing Championship. Through this partnership and the support of donors like you, future generations will enjoy and benefit from a naturally balanced ocean ecosystem. Our education programs, both in the classroom and online, bring to life the work needed to make sure we have clean oceans for decades to come. Join us today at www.ghof.org.
Sometimes saying no can be really difficult. It's hard to set boundaries, to give yourself space and time. Hop water means never having to choose between having fun or missing out. A sparkling hop water full of flavor and packed with mood-boosting benefits that's non-alcoholic with no calories, no carbs, and no sugar. So go out there and get up to no good.
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
Serious. You are as excited to wake up for a 4 a.m. fishing trip as you were when you were a kid. It means winning 3 World Sailfish Championships. It means you know what you need and what you don't. Being serious means seeking out the ultimate fishing machine, which is what Peter Miller has found in the unmatched handling, speed, and comfort of an Invincible.
It's the simple things, like spending a day at the beach, splashing in the water, playing in the sand, and creating sandcastle masterpieces. Rediscover fun and family on the beautiful white sand beaches of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach.
SFC coverage of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is sponsored by Sword Fishing Products, by Publix, and by Hugo Waterproof Products.
Unofficially, we have a 3-way tie at the top of the leaderboard at the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. I say unofficially because everything I say is unofficial, and we still not have allocated that 100 bonus points for the first blue marlin caught. That's going to have to come down to our officials, Peter Miller, and that's not for us to decide. That's what that timestamp, and that's why it's so important to have those cameras on those fish, and when they touch that leader, it's go time.
And that is a pressure cooker. That extra 100 points is a big deal.
Let's take a look ahead with Smith Optics. Where are we going next? Aren't we just moving right up the coast of Florida and trying to cap off some of this Gulf season?
They see me rolling. They see me coasting. Let's do it.
Oh, man, I thought you were going to get the Riding Dirty mention in there, though. But June 25th, Emerald Coast Blue Marlin Championship, and this will be that next to last stop because there's going to be a big gap before we have that Texas International Fishing Tournament at the beginning of August. You really want to have 3 solid event points locked in because, again, we only take the top 3. Guys like Southern Charm with third and third, if they can get another third, man, they are locked in on the event side. They just need to catch more blue marlin.
Consistency is king. If you can stay at the top of the rung, the top of the ladder, you're going to be there at the end, and you're going to win a bunch of money.
And another one of our teams in contention for the championship in the Gulf Division is Gator. We saw them at the very first stop when we were at Venice and Grand Isle. They caught a couple of fish there. I think it was 1 white, 1 blue marlin. But again, they're going to be with us all season long, and we caught up with the Gator to see what they've been up to, one of our contenders in this championship.
The weather and the currents are a factor for us every day. That's the first thing that I look at. I want to know what the wind's doing. The satellite shots that we're able to get now are just awesome. We get NASA satellite shots, and it's very much a factor in everything that we do on a daily basis. This tournament, compared to the last few tournaments, is really kind of setting up to be about the same conditions. This year we've got a really unique loop current that is making the fishing really good.
Robbie, you know, we've got him talking about NASA.
Yeah.
We've got him talking about loop currents, temperature breaks, phytoplankton.
That's way over my knowledge.
This is scientific. This is not luck. This is meant to be. This is where consistency comes into play, and then you have a giant blue on the end of the line, and then it's no coincidence that this is happening.
I think Captain Eric put them on one blue marlin, and it was either a white marlin or a sail. I think they actually caught a sail, but I remember they were on that other side of the species, not just blues, but they were one of our teams to catch 2 different varieties, and they all add up for points, whether it's the 350 for the blue, the 125 for the white, and then we still haven't seen a spearfish or swordfish. Spearfish were worth 125 points, swords worth 75, but we did see that sail at 75 points.
Keeping that cheesecloth over the fish so they don't get sunburned in the bait tubes there. I like that.
Again, the tuna tubes are just in front. They're covered with that brown canvas or cheesecloth, as you mentioned. And you see just how close they are to these rigs and platforms.
Keep it nice and easy.
If there's structure, if there's bait, then there's blue marlin.
And those bait tubes we were talking about, even though you may have those teasers, we see them actually hanging right there in front of them. Those bait tubes hold the bait that they pitch out to, and that's what you hope that billfish grabs. That's actually got a hook on it. Those teasers have nothing. But again, right there, that is a clean release. They cut off that leader, and it's going to be caught some other day, hopefully by me, Peter Miller.
Look at that blue fish.
Pretty work?
Yeah, man. Congratulations, guys.
Good job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's do that again.
With that being said, a lot of the conditions are really kind of the same thing we've been looking at over the last month or so, and those fish are still concentrated in the same areas. So, you know, you don't leave them to go find them.
Look at that son of a gun.
Yeah, that was a very poignant remark. Don't leave fish to find fish, Robbie, and that really is the key. Why would you leave an area to go to another area to possibly find one? They're in them, they're concentrated, like he said, and they're going to fish that area, and they're being very consistent with their targeted species, the blue marlin.
Again, Captain Eric Chandler trying to put them on the fish. They got quite a few guys on boat. Van, Michael, White, Andre, Bill, Donald, and JD. But
don't think so.
if you're at that lesser species or lesser points paying species, that's kind of the thought, right? I can still catch numbers of these. I'm in them. Let's catch them while I'm here to go chase something that I have no idea if they're there.
Yeah, it's a call you got to make. You got to get that game plan together, and every now and then something shows up, and you just have to attack. Like if you see birds, you see something great, you have to try it out. You just can't run past great things in hopes of catching that blue marlin. So it's worth taking a couple stops.
Hey, what you gonna do with that? You ain't got it unwrapped. You can't use that. Put that back up.
Now they're measuring that fish, making sure it's up to an official length for the tournament. Again, once he made contact with that leader, that's a legal catch, and all of our events have different rules, whether it be up to the rod tip or making contact with that leader. Either way, that is a catch. That's a release to be caught another day.
So on the Craw Gator, we fish with the same crew every weekend, which is a blessing. It's that way we're able to form a system, and everybody's got a job, and then it just makes things so much smoother when you have the repetition of doing it and the same guys. So without good communication, you can have a mistake that will cause something catastrophic, and it can be super bad results. We use the headphones. We're in communication all the time. And once you fish with a crew for quite some time, you get into a rhythm, you get into a relaxation, so to speak. And so you're not too worried about it. And that's really what you're striving for. As a captain, that's what I want to know, is that I don't really have to be concerned about what's going on, because I know it's being taken care of,
Yeah. Robbie, that's exactly what we did as a team. My team and I, we fished together for 25 years. We didn't have to speak. We didn't have to yell. We didn't have to say anything. Everybody did their job. They did it calmly. They did it succinctly with scalpel-like precision. And that's what these guys do, and it keeps it so nice on the boat.
And that's why you don't hop around from crewmate to crewmate to crewmate, because they may do things a different way. Without you saying a word, I already know what you're thinking. That's why you tie it all together, and looks like Captain Chandler doing a great job there on Craw Gator. Again, they're trying to catch the blue marlin out there. So far, they are not on the board. That doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Here's our standings as they are right now, 825 points. That means there's a white marlin mixed in there and a couple blues, but we've got a variety of species.
That's right. The top 3 boats, you have 2 blues and a white each, and then the next 4 boats have 2 blues each. So the bite is very, very good. I think there's 35 to 36 billfish caught thus far, and that is a good catch ratio. I like that.
They're going to be looking for those weed lines. They're going to be looking for those special platforms and rigs, and we'll be looking for you in the morning, 9 o'clock on sportfishingchampionship.com, and then we follow it up at 10 on CBS Sports Network. All times are Eastern. Again, for Peter Miller, Ronnie Moore, I'm Robbie Floyd. It's the Sport Fishing Championship. We're going to crown a champion tomorrow, the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic.
SFC coverage of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic is sponsored by Invincible Boats, by Gulf Shores and Orange Beach Tourism, and by Le Mans Bikes.
A day out on the water could go great, or it could have a few minor setbacks. Things could get rough, or you could lose that $900 smartphone. Whatever the problem, Yugo provides unmatched premium protection for any water sports adventure. Yugo. To get yours, visit YugoWear.com or simply scan the QR code on the screen. And remember, just add water.
Some call it joie de vivre, the joy of life. In Louisiana, it's our way of life. From music that shakes up your senses to food that wakes up your palate. That joy vibrates in every note we play and spices up every meal we serve. So come live life to the fullest. Come one, come y'all, come feed your soul in Louisiana. I'm Sean Ardway, inviting you to plan your trip at louisianatravel.com.
So, you want this, but you can't have it without this, or this, or this. Until now, introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. right here in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Get all that culture, all the cuisine from that culture. You're welcome. All the gram-worthy sites from that hashtag culture. It's right here at home. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
Yeah, baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Sport fishing anglers from around the world competing for $1 million. The Sport Fishing Championship on CBS Sports Network.
When it comes to performance, comfort, and functionality, we've got you covered. Performance apparel designed by anglers to make your time on the water better than ever. Salt Life, the official apparel sponsor of the Sport Fishing Championship.